Good evening. Welcome to the December 23rd edition of Sports on Sunset. I'm James Jericho.
I'm Cool Mo Jeremy.
We are inside the main room at Marty's, where a couple of months ago somebody decided to treat this place like a swap meet, drop off a drum set, and never take it back. Let's get started with some NFL quick takes. What the hell? I'm stunned by the immaturity level of Cam Newton. Sure, the Panthers won again today, but he kicked an Oakland defensive lineman today, complete loss of composure, later a personal foul penalty that he got on himself, and he bumped the ref. It's one thing to sit there and say, okay, maybe I lose my composure at the end of the year with a playoff berth on the line, or maybe in a playoff game you do something stupid. We're talking about a guy who lost his mess over a team that's not going anywhere and playing the Oakland Raiders, which aren't going anywhere. If you know who's taking notes of that, every other team in the NFL. If the Panthers ever play a game that matters, they know now they can get under this guy's skin.
Yeah.
Next take.
There are 3 coaches that should be losing their job at the end of this season. Andy Reid, Ken Whisenhunt, and Lovie Smith, along with Romeo Cornell, by the way. So 4 coaches. Here's the problem. I think only one will.
Of that list?
Of that list.
I was going to say, because there's never just one coach losing a job at the end of the year.
Yeah, but of that list, maybe one will be losing their job, and that's because of crappy organizational skills.
Well, you're dreaming with Lovie Smith. I'll give you the name of an assistant coach that's likely going to lose, that I believe, I shouldn't say likely, but I believe should lose his job, is Rob Ryan. I had said it before. You and I have not given Dallas any credit this year throughout the course of this, and to be honest, I think we kind of missed the boat on that. They did show some guts over the last month.
Yeah.
All of that now is completely kaput because Dallas allowed a 560 yards to the New Orleans Saints today in a game they had to have at home.
Yeah.
And the Saints caused matchup problems, but I'm sorry, the Saints had a season high in the yards gained today against Dallas. That's on Ryan.
Yeah.
Next take.
There's been a lot of rumors since Tim Tebow was passed over of not getting the starting job this week. They gave it to McElroy, I think he's rookie.
Second year, but yeah.
Tim Tebow to Jacksonville. That's what they're saying. Tim Tebow to Jacksonville. Tim Tebow should not be in the league.
There are 3 monuments in Pittsburgh now honoring the Immaculate Reception. The 3rd one debuted today over at Heinz Field. 3 monuments to honor the biggest blown call in the history of snowy playoff games.
Blown call, huh?
It is a blown call.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you in a moment. One of the reasons is that I'm not saying you overturn it and give the game to Oakland. That's dumb. Right? I'm not saying that. But I will say this. One of the main players involved wore a T-shirt today that said, "I will never tell the truth." Basically, the argument that Oakland had was when it hits 2 players at once in incomplete pass, and Frenchie Fuqua was the intended receiver. He said he's the only person who knows for sure whether or not it hit both players at once. So it's a blown call. But with that said, it's the equivalent of putting statues of Tom Brady fumbling tucking the football all over Boston, which at least Boston would never do, okay? For all the things we can say about Boston, they would never do that. Hey, Pittsburgh, honor something other than a fluke, will ya?
There could be a poison drink somewhere, or a bathroom stall. They could have a bathroom with a security guard standing outside. How about that?
I don't know. Bottom line is, I thought it was poetic justice that Pittsburgh got eliminated from the playoffs.
There are 9 teams in the NFL, the Cardinals included, that really do need to draft a quarterback. Really need to draft a quarterback. I watched a whole lot of shitty quarterback play today. 9 teams should be losing their starting quarterbacks, starting with the Cardinals, because they're going to be the number 1 overall pick, right? They're going to get the number 1 pick. They have to. They stink. They lost to the Bears today. Jacksonville? Well, they also need to draft a quarterback, because Blaine Gabbert is not doing it.
Well, he's been hurt, but either way. I saw something, and I guess we should end on this. I saw something kind of interesting in the Dallas New Orleans game. In the overtime, pass over the middle, guy gets jacked up, he fumbles the ball, it goes in a straight line down towards the 2. Where the receiver and where 2 guys, each on the same team, ran parallel and dove for the ball. Which reminded me a lot of how the XFL used to decide the opening kickoff. They would put the ball at the 50-yard line, have one guy from each team basically race each other, and whoever got the ball got their choice. Now, I'm not going to try and tell you that the XFL was quality football, but the XFL did have a few things where it was entertaining, and that was entertaining. I would like that rather than a coin flip.
So would I. Put the fattest 2 linemen out there and make them run towards the 50-yard line.
It does, yeah. It could be the fattest guys going towards each other.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It doesn't have to be toward each other, but still.
No. Towards each other. Put one fat bastard at one goal line, the other fat bastard at the other goal line to make them race to the 50-yard line where they have to get the ball. And that's who gets the ball or the choice. That's football.
That's entertaining to me.
I would love it.
Let's get on to our main take, guys. We have a lawsuit filed by New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Here's what he wants to do. He wants to allow sports gambling to go on inside New Jersey's casinos. And as
Atlantic City.
Atlantic City, exactly. Yeah, it's not. Originally, I was apparently mistaken. I thought it would have been state sanctioned. That's incorrect. It would have been allowed. He wants to pass it. Things are in place. The feds. This, however, goes against federal law. Federal law only allows sports wagering in 4 states: Nevada, where it's pretty much unlimited in the casinos, and limited in 3 other states. This could open a floodgate for a lot of bad things. On the other hand, the law is not necessarily when laws are challenged, it's more about the philosophy behind the law, not about necessarily the practical purposes of it. The arguments will be heard in January 20th. And what we do know is that while the leagues and the NCAA have asked this to be blocked, the judges said you cannot prove that you will be harmed financially, but you can prove that your reputations in terms of integrity of the game can be harmed.
Well,
so the lawsuit goes forward. As we've established in previous editions, you work in a casino. Do you think your casino, do you think your casino wants sports wagering?
Yes.
Really? Because my understanding is it's not nearly the cash cow for casinos as others is.
Well,
other forms of gambling are.
The way they're looking at it is if they had sports gambling, the sports gambling would take place in one part of the casino, but all those people that do sports betting will end up trickling in to play poker while they're waiting on their games to finish, because that's where they have all the big screen televisions. So you can watch football and play poker, which keeps all the poker games going.
Now, we're in California, and California obviously is not one of the 4 states that allows it, but there are casinos up and down the state, primarily in Indian tribes. So in other words, what you're saying is it's an ancillary benefit.
Yes.
Are you then...
It's the same reason they allow off-track betting in casinos.
Okay. Because I know the casinos also put entertainment on, not because they want you to go and see, go and see Charo. They want you to walk through the casino on your way to the concert.
And play a game of blackjack or whatever.
Yeah. New Jersey is a cash-strapped state, as is California, and frankly...
Especially right now.
Yeah. New Jersey
dire need of funds.
New Jersey gets 8% of funds from of the gross from their casinos. California, however, has individual compacts with the Indian casinos and whatnot. I'm just wondering, to flip it, I'm wondering if that is worth, in New Jersey's case, losing the NBA for good and if it's also worth baseball never coming in, and possibly one of its football teams leaving when that new stadium once the lease is up.
They're going to lose more sports anyway. Here's the other issue. While one side is backed by the NCAA and the NFL and all these other sports leagues that don't want betting in casinos in Atlantic City or anywhere in New Jersey, the other side is backed by probably Donald Trump, because it's a way for him to get money. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, it's basically a lobby issue. Like, whose lobby is bigger? Sports leagues' lobbies are bigger in this issue, but the governor probably, I think the reason he's pushing for it mainly is because he believes the revenue from these casinos are going to feed the state more money than the leagues have thus far, especially after the New Jersey Nets left. After that, he needs money.
With that said, though, do you see California actually wanting to join in on something like that? I mean, we have significantly more teams, but I haven't heard any legislators say, yeah, this is a great idea.
Yeah, they're not going to, because I think mainly because everybody knows that you can just go to Vegas. Vegas is 3 hours away, just so you can make bets. Nobody's pushing for that here, mainly because they're still trying to get slot machines. They can't get slot machines in most casinos here in California.
Oh, in Indian casinos, yes.
Right, but you can't get slot machines, you can't have dice games, you can't have true roulette, you can't do a lot of things that you can do in Vegas. And I don't know if that's a lobby from Vegas stopping that from happening here, but until they can get that, there's no need for them fighting for sports betting, because they can't get it anyway.
Are you personally in favor of the idea of, I mean, again, you do work in a casino, but it's not like you're going to get like a massive raise just because.
No, I won't get a raise whatsoever.
Precisely. So what I'm saying to you is that I don't see a particular benefit. I'm not saying
it's all bottom line. It's also the rich people can get richer. So that's who will make more money off of this.
But with that said, while you do work at a casino, you and I are both sports fans.
Yes.
And I'm not a fan of sports wagering. I don't hate it. I understand it. Uh-huh. I'm a fan of knowing that the games that I'm watching are not possibly tainted by organized crime.
Right.
And when you have casinos in the proximity of stadiums, this is why Nevada doesn't have a professional sports team outside of the minor leagues. Uh-huh. You know, you don't want to be associated with that kind of element, with good reason. As a sports fan, are you comfortable with the idea that maybe in a few years you might be able to walk into a casino and put down $20 on the Bears?
Am I confident?
No, are you comfortable?
Well, I'm comfortable in the fact that I have no need for sports betting myself. But here's what a lot of people don't realize. The same things that used to happen in Jersey before there was sports betting in the casinos, and not in Jersey, Vegas. Because there's no sports betting in Jersey, because there's no sports betting in Jersey, you have more backroom sports betting. You have bookies and whatnot, and people going online and Bodog or whatever online sports betting that you have. People have been doing that here. They go online and bet on sports, or they have bookies out here. Bookies make everything a little more dangerous. I know of at the casino that I morning at, or summer as you say, the casino that I summer at in the mornings I know at least 8 bookies that work the casino. They do nothing but play poker and take bets. And if you lose, they come to collect the very next day. And you better have their money. And that's, I guess, the upshot of allowing sports betting in casinos, is that it cuts down on a lot of basically backroom betting, mm-hmm. which can get people killed.
I can see that sports wagering, to me, the sports leagues put out a report and it was saying that there's a perception that their sports will not be as popular because people are going to assume it's all cloudy and whatever. On the other hand, I'm wondering about the validity of the study. Sports wagering to me is a lot like pornography in the sense that nobody likes to publicly admit it, but they will partake in it. You know what I mean? You don't go to a pollster and say, "Oh, absolutely, I can't wait to do this." You know?
Right.
So, is the perception study slightly flawed? Maybe we are ready to accept sports wagering. You know?
Oh, most certainly. People have to realize you have to be so old to be able to go into a casino in the first place. So you have to at least have the cognitive ability to know that I might lose my money. I'm going in here to gamble. I might lose, and I more than likely will lose. And so if people are okay with that, with knowing that people have self-responsibility, then you have to allow people to make bad choices, and people will.
We have no idea. We're not lawyers, so we're not going to predict anything with regards to what happens with the court case. I will say this much, though. The Commerce Clause might come into effect with regards to the lawsuit in the sense that you can't deny other states the opportunity to create certain businesses that are allowed to be created in others. They're saying it's a state decision, or Christie is arguing it's a state decision as opposed to a federal one.
Right.
So I tell you what, why don't you tell them what's on your mind, and I'll be back in about 20 seconds.
Well, here's what's on my mind. There's been a lot of talk about, like recently, over the last 5 years, made more public by the Michael Vick trial in which he went to jail for dogfighting. And people have been, I've watched on Facebook feed after Facebook feed of mine where people are bitching and moaning about dogs and the treatment of dogs and blah, 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 dogs, and how it's, it's inhumane and it's not a sport. To that I say this, fuck all of you. I'm not defending dog fighting, but you guys aren't paying attention to kids fighting. If you go online, say to YouTube, look up 13-year-old silver glove champions, and you'll see 13-year-old kids beating the fuck out of each other with boxing gloves on. And you know what? Nobody cares. You're cheering it on. Hey, that's my son beating up another kid who's 13 years old. There's a fight online where a 12-year-old is facing a 15-year-old. Mike Tyson started boxing at the age of 12, but nobody gave a damn. Why? Because he could knock the motherfucker out. He was champion at how old?
18.
Exactly. Nobody gave a fuck. But now you care? You didn't care before. I started fighting when I was 13. I was a boxer at the age of 13. Nobody cared. But let somebody harm a dog. Fuck dogs. Alright? Fuck them. People eat them. They eat children too. Nobody cares about that either.
Eat kid?
Huh?
Eat kid?
Yeah, they eat kids.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say here is this. If you're going to stop one thing and dismiss another, then you're a gigantic hypocrite. And I don't want to hear anyone talk about dog fighting when you're still going to champion and allow people to post videos of kids fighting online, especially 13-year-olds. Shouldn't be allowed. I'm done.
Friends, everybody, regardless of how much you find women's basketball to be entertaining, everybody, to the best of my knowledge, admired and loved Pat Summitt.
Yeah.
She was a consummate professional. She could outfox you in coaching. She knew how to recruit. And on top of that, one of the cool things about her was that she was willing to take a joke, and she was also willing to let her performance as a coach speak for itself.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is one of the reasons why she is revered, not just in women's athletics, but athletics in general.
Yes.
Geno Auriemma needs to shut the fuck up.
Certainly.
Look, I get the idea that as a coach you kind of have to tout your own program a bit, you know. But when you're not shamelessly touting UConn, you are bitching and moaning nonstop about everything else. You think that if you don't watch women's basketball, you're a chauvinist for not loving women's basketball as much as the men in the world of Geno Auriemma.
Right.
He wants significantly more media coverage for an inferior product, does Geno Auriemma. He wanted it before ESPN started broadcasting it. He bitched about his own student body not selling out UConn games.
Well, yeah, that's
ridiculous. It's their choice whether or not they go.
No, I mean, that's a valid point on yours.
Yeah, and in addition to that, now he's taking on the Catholic universities who left the Big East Conference, chiding them for being so selfish and money-grubbing, and good riddance to you. Well, look, Catholic colleges do not have the bottomless pit of taxpayer money that UConn and other state universities have. I mean, so yeah, I guess the Catholics do have to worry about that. So, let's just take a nice summary here. Because he is a whiny bastard, Geno Auriemma has taken on ESPN, which kind of liked it because ESPN thought he was colorful. Then he took on men, his own students, and then the Pope. At what point will you stop picking fights with people who matter more than you? Your own student body, the Pope, men, and Mickey Mouse. Nice going, Geno. Could you do me a favor? Why not go back to the UConn women's gym, cut some orange slices for them, put on the Spice Girls' greatest hits, run some frickin' layup drills in practice, and while you're at it, could you get a less sleazy-looking haircut for Pete's sake? You're not a used car salesman. You're a women's basketball coach. This is one of the reasons that I don't like watching women's basketball in the first place. It's not because I hate women. It's not because I don't think women are athletic. It's because of sleazeballs like this guy.
I would have just said...
Shut the fuck up.
Geno, the fact that you wanted to lower the rims, fucking stupid. That's number one. And number two, you bitch Breonna Stewart. You're a fucking idiot.
I'll give you those. We'll see you next week.